What if the love of your life called you after they were already buried? She thought love was forever, but forever ended the moment she saw gold. It started in a small town outside Nashville, where dreams were louder than church bells and promises faded faster than the paint on Main Street signs. Her name was Emily, a girl with laughter that could melt snow and eyes that always looked like they were chasing something more. She used to believe in love like it was a religion, used to think Daniel, the boy who fixed cars and played guitar on his porch, was her forever. They talked about marriage under the summer stars, barefoot, holding hands, dreaming of a simple life. But simple wasn't enough. Not when the city lights started calling her name, not when she saw what money could buy, the dresses, the diamonds, the kind of life that made small-town girls feel big. So when Ethan walked in, sharp suit, expensive watch, and that smile that promised the world, she traded love for gold. She told herself it wasn't betrayal, it was survival, that she was meant for something bigger than gas stations and front porches. Daniel begged her not to go. He stood in the rain outside her apartment, holding the ring he saved for months to buy, but her eyes were already on the city skyline. She told him, "Love doesn't pay bills," and she walked away. At first, life with Ethan sparkled like champagne. Rooftop dinners, weekend trips to Miami, pictures that looked perfect enough to make anyone jealous. But gold has a way of losing its shine. Ethan stopped calling her baby. He started talking numbers, stocks, deals, like love was a transaction. He gave her everything money could buy, except the one thing she traded away. And late at night, when the lights went out, she'd scroll through old photos, her in Daniel's arms, smiling without makeup, barefoot, free. She'd whisper his name like a prayer she wasn't allowed to say anymore. Then one morning, everything collapsed. Ethan was gone. The bank accounts frozen. The news on TV said fraud investigation. Her name flashed across the screen beside his. The same people who once called her beautiful now called her a fool. The same gold she traded love for had turned to dust in her hands. So she drove. No makeup, no jewelry, just an old car and an emptiness that felt like a ghost sitting in the passenger seat. Back to that small town she swore she'd never see again. Back to the porch where Daniel used to play guitar. But the house was different now. Painted blue. A swing in the front yard. A woman's laughter inside. Not hers. Emily stood by the gate, her heart pounding like it was trying to climb out of her chest. She could hear Daniel's voice, deeper now, calmer, telling someone they loved them. She reached for the gate and stopped. Because sometimes, when you lose everything, you realize the only thing worse than regret is being too late. She stood there frozen, hands trembling on the cold iron gate. The sound of his laughter cut through the air, soft, warm, real. And it hit her like a memory she wasn't ready to relive. Through the half-open curtain, she saw him, Daniel, older now, still wearing that same old flannel shirt, still tapping his fingers on his knee like he was keeping rhythm to a song only he could hear. And beside him, a woman with long brown hair, holding a baby, their baby. Emily felt her knees weaken. She wanted to run. She wanted to scream, but all she could do was stand there and watch the life that could have been hers unfolding without her. A neighbor's dog barked, breaking the silence. Daniel turned toward the window. Their eyes met, just for a second. He froze too. Recognition flickered, then confusion, then something like pity. He stood, walked to the door, and stepped out onto the porch. The guitar leaned against the wall behind him, the same one she used to trace her fingers on while he played love songs under the Tennessee moon. He said, "Emily," he said, voice low, cautious, almost like he didn't believe she was real. She forced a smile that didn't reach her eyes. "Hey, Danny," she said. The nickname slipped out before she could stop it, the same name she used to whisper when he kissed her goodnight. Now it felt like a stranger's word. He looked at her, studying the tired lines on her face, the expensive coat that didn't fit this town, the way her eyes couldn't stop shaking. He asked, "What are you doing here?" She whispered, "I don't know. I just needed to see you." He nodded slowly, but his hands stayed in his pockets. Behind him, the woman called his name. "Honey, the baby is awake." He turned his head, smiled softly, then looked back at Emily. There was love in his eyes once. Now there was only closure. She wanted to tell him everything, that she was sorry, that she'd trade all the gold in the world just to feel that kind of love again. But the words got stuck in her throat. Because sometimes there's no way back. Only the echo of what could have been. Daniel stepped closer, enough for her to smell the faint scent of cedar and engine oil. He said, "You look tired. You should go home." Her eyes glistened. She whispered, "I don't have one." He hesitated, then glanced back at the window, at his family, at the life waiting for him. And in that moment, she knew she wasn't part of his story anymore. Emily turned away. The gravel crunched beneath her shoes as she walked down the same road she once left him on. The air was colder now, the town quieter, but in her chest, something started to break. Not loud, just slow. And as the first drop of rain hit her cheek, she realized it wasn't rain at all. It was everything she'd been holding in since the day she chose gold over love. Her car sat under the streetlight, engine still running, headlights cutting through the mist. She opened the door, sat behind the wheel, and stared at the small velvet ring box sitting on the passenger seat. Daniel's ring, the one he'd tried to give her all those years ago. She didn't know why she still kept it. Maybe because it was the only piece of love that hadn't left her. She opened it, looked at the ring, and whispered to the empty car, maybe love was the gold all along. A single tear rolled down her cheek. She closed the box, started the engine, and drove into the night, not knowing where she was going, only that she had nothing left to lose.
The road stretched endlessly before her, wet asphalt glistening under the soft glow of the streetlights, like a trail of broken promises leading her nowhere. Emily drove in silence, the sound of the wipers keeping rhythm with her heartbeat, steady, lonely, almost mechanical. Mile after mile, the world outside turned to fog and shadows. Her phone buzzed once, a number she didn't recognize. She stared at it, hesitated, then let it ring until it stopped. Nobody she wanted to hear from would ever call again. The gas light blinked red. She pulled into a rundown diner off the interstate, the kind of place where the coffee was burnt and the jukebox played old country songs nobody had requested in decades. Inside, it smelled like rain, sugar, and second chances. A waitress with tired eyes and a kind smile handed her a cup of coffee. She said, "You look like you've seen a ghost, honey." Emily smiled faintly. "Maybe I have." She sat by the window watching the rain fall harder, wondering how many people were out there right now, trying to fix the things they'd already broken. Her reflection in the glass looked older, not from time, but from loss. The kind of aging that starts in your soul and spreads to your face. Across the diner, a man in a worn denim jacket sat alone, staring into his own cup like it held all the answers he never got. He looked up. Their eyes met for just a moment. Something about his gaze felt familiar, not like love, but like understanding. He nodded once, a silent acknowledgement between two strangers carrying ghosts. Then he looked away,